From stories across the globe to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. A very good evening to you. I'm Sharifa Tahir.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Charita Minapurarachi, and let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news. Educational activities in all schools from grade 10 to 13 will commence on the 8th of next month. The interprovincial travel restrictions will be withdrawn at 4 a.m. tomorrow. Interprovincial train services will be conducted with effect from next Monday. An American research institute says that the corona vaccination gives strong protection to the body. The funeral of Venerable Valamitiyave Kusaladamma Thera will take place tomorrow. Several areas affected by inclement weather. Several world powers are to attend the G20 summit. On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with local stories. The Ministry of Education says educational activities from grade 10 to 13 in all schools in the island will commence on the 8th of next month. It further says that reopening of the schools is being carried out according to the recommendations of the COVID Control Committee. Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says academic activities in primary divisions in schools are now being carried out successfully. He further says that measures are underway to commence educational activities in schools from grade 6 to grade 9 immediately upon receiving of health guidelines. A new set of health guidelines have been issued to be implemented with effect from next Monday, after the withdrawal of the current interprovincial travel restrictions at 4 a.m. tomorrow. The Health Ministry says that although bus transport will take place after the removal of the travel restrictions, the buses deployed in common transportation should carry passengers according to the number of seats. It has been pointed out that it is more protective to switch off air conditioners in vehicles transporting groups of people. It is compulsory the passengers to wear face masks. The workers are being encouraged to work from their homes unless they are compelled to travel to attend essential services. The Health Ministry further says that convening of staff to service places be restricted. According to the latest guidelines, in assembling people to a hall for numerous purposes, a group of not exceeding 150 persons or fulfilling only a maximum capacity out of 1/3 of the persons are recommended. Permission has also been granted to conduct examinations subjected to strongly adhering to health guidelines. Permissions has been given only to conduct GCE ordinary level and advanced level classes from grade 16th next month. Only 50% of the student participation out of the normal capacity is permitted in the case of conducting tuition classes. It is encouraged to conduct outdoor wedding ceremonies. Only 150 guests are allowed to outdoor wedding ceremonies. In the case of conducting such ceremonies in halls, the number of guests should not exceed 100. The Health Ministry further says that offering of alcohol is banned in such ceremonies. The guidelines further says that a funeral should be conducted within a period of 24 hours. The number of persons to attend a funeral at a time has been restricted to 20 persons. Group activities in religious places continue to remain prohibited. The Health Ministry further says that set of guidelines issued earlier on casino ceremonies should be followed. The guidelines also calls upon to enlighten all suppliers to commence their activities with full security and preparations in the event of conducting all exhibitions and conferences with effect from 1st of December. The number of people gathering in a house should not exceed 10 persons. The number of persons in the cafeteria should be 1/3 of the normal capacity or not exceeding 75 persons. The Health Ministry also says in outdoor cafeterias, 100 persons should be accommodated in a single location. In banks and financial institutions, only 15 persons could remain at a time. All customers must maintain distance among themselves. Daycare centers are permitted to be reopened. However, they should be conducted with 50% of the normal capacity. A mixed methodology including minimum participation and distant education system should be adhered by higher education institutes including universities. In cinema halls and concert halls, only 25% of the regular number of spectators are being permitted. Physical fitness and bodybuilding centers are permitted to perform with the participation of 10 persons at a time or 30% of the original capacity. Sport competitions will have to be conducted without the participation of spectators. Director General of National Transport Commission Nilan Mirando says interprovincial bus services will commence from tomorrow with the lifting of interprovincial travel restrictions. He adds that special buses will also be operated to transport workers from outstations to Colombo. The Department of Railways says interprovincial train services will also be conducted with effect from next Monday. It further says that only 152 will be conducted within provinces and in between provinces. The department further says that passengers are permitted to purchase their tickets from tickets issuing counters. 428 COVID-19 patients have been detected from the country today. 13,638 persons are continuously receiving treatments. 316 patients have been recovered today. The total number of fully cured COVID-19 patients is 512,481. The Director General of Health Services has reported 19 COVID-related deaths which occurred yesterday. 12 of the fatalities were of the age of 60 years and above. There were 7 victims between the ages of 30 and 59 years. The total number of doses of vaccines inoculated on the people in the country under the COVID immunization program is 28,886,009. Out of this number, 15,474,673 have been delivered the first dose. The Epidemiology Unit Division says that the number of persons who have received both doses of vaccines is 13,411,336.
In the meantime, taking a look at the global situation, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in United States have offered more evidence that vaccinations offer better protection against COVID-19 than immunity from a prior infection. Unvaccinated people who had been infected months earlier were 5 times more likely to contract COVID-19 than fully vaccinated people who had no prior infection, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention concluded in a new study. The study looked at data from nearly 190 hospitals in 9 states, and in the meantime, the researchers counted about 7,000 adult patients who were hospitalized this year with respiratory illnesses or symptoms similar to those of COVID-19. About 5% of the vaccinated patients tested positive for the coronavirus, compared with the unvaccinated group. The study echoes some earlier research, including studies that found higher levels of infection-fighting antibodies in vaccinated patients. In the meantime, Director General of Health Services Dr. Asela Gunawardena urges the public to be more responsible in their behavior to avoid another COVID-19 outbreak in the country. He said that people should be more cautious in their activities as the health authorities have further relaxed restrictions on movement. He made these remarks while speaking to media today.
From tomorrow 4 am, inter-provincial travel restriction will be lifted, and all the people allowed to cross the boundaries without any restriction. But this doesn't mean that you can go for trips and all other leisure activities. I earnestly request from all of you, keep this freedom for the essential work. What we have observed during past 2 weeks, once we relax the travel restriction and quarantine restrictions, the adherence to health guidelines seems to be minimal, especially weddings and other parties. Most of the people are not wearing even a face mask. So if we are going to behave like this, we cannot prevent another outbreak. We have opened up this country with a great difficulty, and we have relaxed the health guidelines as much as possible. Still, there are positive cases in the community, so we cannot relax all the guidelines.
He also made remarks over the guidelines issued to the Ministry of Education over the reopening of schools.
We have given the guidelines to the Ministry of Education to start O-level and A-level classes throughout the island. So the Education Ministry will decide the dates and the number of students they are going to bring in each class. With the parallel of opening of O-level and A-level classes, COVID Task Force, which is presided by His Excellency President, has directed us to give the guidelines for the tuition classes. So we have tentatively decided to give the clearance from 16th of November this month with the capacity of 50% of the seating capacity, and for tuition classes the health guideline will be issued in near future. All the parents should understand that now we are in the process of opening up schools. To opening up schools and the vaccination is not connected. Vaccination is an independent program and opening up schools is another program. So we are not connected these two, and we are going to open up the schools parallelly. Vaccination program also going on. It is very important that we should have the low number of cases if we are going to open up the schools. So to keep the low number of cases in the community, it is our self-discipline is the most important thing.
The Director General of Health Services briefed on the program for the inoculation of the booster dose to fully vaccinated people in the country.
We are going to give the booster dose for the health and frontline other staff members from 1st of November. So the hospital staff and the MOH staff will be getting their booster dose from 1st of November, and all the Triforces, police and other frontline staff will be giving the booster dose during the next week. So after we are finishing the frontline workers, be starting giving the booster dose 60 and above population. Booster dose is given 6 months after the second dose of vaccination. Pfizer vaccine will be given, so it is the booster dose. First we start with the frontline workers, and then we'll go to the 60 and above, and then we will come within 30 to 60 with comorbidities, and then lastly we are going from 20 and above the rest of the population. That is how the booster dose is planned. Once your 6 months is completed, you are eligible to get the booster dose. So it will be rolling out from 1st of November. So it will be continue from this year as well as sometime the next year also.
And meanwhile, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa left the country today to attend the 26th UN Climate Change Conference of the parties known as COP26 in Glasgow, Scotland. The United Nations Climate Change Conference will be held in Glasgow from tomorrow to November 12th to discuss climate change and to talk over how countries implement their strategies to tackle the climate crisis. November 1st and 2nd are set aside for the World Leaders Summit. The COP26, the UN Climate Change Conference, is a critical moment in the fight against climate change, and the conference will be attended by around 25,000 people representing wide range of fields, including heads of state, government representatives, scholars and businessmen from 197 countries. It is reported that this is the largest conference ever held in the United Kingdom. Minister Mahinda Amaravira, State Minister Duminta Dissanayake, Principal Advisor to the President Lalit Wiratunga, Foreign Secretary Admiral Professor Jayanath Kolambage and Secretary to the Ministry of Environment Dr. Anil Jayasinghe are accompanying the President.
The cremation of late Chancellor of the Kelaniya University, Chief Sanganayaka of the Colombo Halawatha Dadisava, head of the Paliyagoda Vidyalankara Pirivana Agamaha Pandita, Venerable Dr. Valamitiyave Kusaladhammathera, will be conducted with full state patronage at the Independence Square premises in Colombo at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. The government has declared tomorrow a day of mourning. Mahanayaka of the Askariya chapter, Most Venerable Valkagoda Sri Gnanaratana Thera, says that the late Nayaka Thera had taken a forefront in social, religious and political affairs. He further recalls the immense dedication of the late prelate to turn the Vidyalankara Pirivana into a higher institute of education. The Sri Rohana Mahasangha Sabha of the Shamo Pali Vanshika Mahanikaya have also expressed condolence over the demise of the Venerable Kusaladhamma Thera. The Sangha Sabha in a communique says that the late Mahanayaka Thera could be regarded as an embodiment of humbleness, who used to treat all with a smile and maintain cordial and friendly relations disregarding any differences. The message of the Sri Rohana Mahasangha Sabha further says that the passing away of the paternal bhikkhu figure of this nature, enriched with all virtues, is an irreparable loss to the Sasana. The remains of the late Nayaka Thera now lies at the Paliyagoda Vidyalankara Pirivana. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has paid his last respects to the Nayaka Thera this morning. The Prime Minister has recalled with respect the leadership qualities of the Kusaladhamma Thera at times when challenges had been posed on the well-being of the Sambuddha Sasana, as well as in times of national crisis. The Mahasangha, people's representatives, devotees and others are reported to be arriving to pay their last respects to the late Mahanayaka Thera. The procession carrying the remains of the Venerable Valamitiyave Kusaladhamma Thera will leave the Palayagoda Vidyalankara Pirivan at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow. The motorcade will travel along Kandy Road, Kalani Bridge, Baseline Road, Bandaranayaka Junction, Urugoda Vatta, Ingram Junction, Dematagoda, Borala, DSN Nayaka Mavata, Horton Vijayarama Junction, Horton Junction and via Nanda Motors Junction and Independence Roundabout to the Independence Square. The police request the motorists to use alternate routes as much as possible to prevent any congestion that may arise during the time of the procession. The national television will give a live commentary on the cremation commencing 2:30 p.m. tomorrow.
Floods and falling of earth mounds have been reported from many parts of the island as a result of heavy rainfall currently being experienced. The Badulla district was most affected by the inclement weather condition. Programs to grant relief to the victims are being carried out continuously. Around 135 houses in the Badulla Divisional Secretariat Division have come under water due to overflowing of the Badulla Oya. As a result of heavy rainfall lashing since yesterday, and the areas inundated due to the overflowing of the Badulla Oya include Halpe, Demodara, Haliyala and Uduvara. The office of the Badulla Medical Officers of Health has also been inundated. 3 two-storied shops located along Badulla Oya adjacent to the Bogaha Junction Bridge in Demodara on the Demodara Spring Valley Road has been subjected to an earth slip with the continuation of the bad weather condition. Vehicle transport have also been subjected to disruptions in Haliyala and Uduvara. The Sri Lanka Army along with the Haliyala Police Station, the Pradesha Sabha and the Disaster Management Unit were engaged in operations to remove refuse trapped in bridges leading to villages. The Demodara Reservoir is also nearing the spill level due to the heavy rainfall in the Badulla district. Several houses have been inundated due to the floods in Halpe on the Badulla-Bandaravela main road. Vehicle traffic have come to a standstill in Demodara on the Badulla-Bandaravela main road due to the falling of a soil mound yesterday. Several houses and vegetable cultivations have also been affected due to the incessant rain in Nura Elia Haliyala, rather Neluwa Haliyala. Several places between the Demodara and Ella railway stations on the upcountry railway tract have been subjected to earth slips. As a result, trains transport have been suspended. 3 sluice gates in the upper Kotmale Reservoir have remained open last night till dawn today. The sluice gate continues to remain open. The District Disaster Management Unit says that several houses and low-lying lands in Nuwarelia, Havalia and Nuwarelia town also remain underwater. Assistant Director of Lakshapan Reservoir Ranjita Lahakon says that sluice gates of the reservoir have been opened. Provincial Governor A.J. Muzammil and Parliamentarian Sampath Dasanayake were engaged in an inspection tour to look into the problems of the people affected by the floods. The Governor has ordered the authorities to grant relief to the victims. Several low-lying areas in the Vavuniya district have also been inundated. The Department of Meteorology forecasts further heavy rains accompanied with thunder may occur in the northern, north central, northwestern, eastern and Uva province from time to time in the next 24 hours. In other areas, heavy rainfall accompanied with thunder may take place, especially in the evening or at night. There is a possibility of certain locations in northern, north central, northwestern, central, Sabaragamuwa, Uva and western provinces as well as certain areas in the Trincomalee district receiving rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters. The department requests the general public to take necessary precautions to minimize accidents that could arise due to thunder and lightning and fairly strong winds. Thunder showers may also occur in the seas around the island. The Met Department also informs the fishing community not to engage in fishing in the sea areas from Molathiv to Putlam, Vyakan Kasanture until further notice.
In the meantime, a Buddha Mandira with fully reconstructed frescoes at the Kettarama Purana Viharaya in Palatuwa Matara was declared open by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa last evening. The Prime Minister has taken part in the opening ceremony via Zoom technology from the temple trees. Restoration of the Buddha shrine has been conducted through financial contributions of the owner of the Matara Garage, J.K. Jinadasa and Mrs. Chandra Piasili, to invoke merit on their son Lanil Galbuddha on his 10th death anniversary. The Mahasangha, headed by the Chief Deputy Sangha Nayaka of Matara Hambantara, Depala Te Venerable Palathuwe Jinaratana Thera, Venerable Dr. Kirindya Saji Thera of the Hunupitiya Gangaramaya have also participated in the ceremony. Secretary to the Ministry of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs, Professor Kapila Gunawardena, was also present on this occasion. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has visited the Vidyalankara Pirivena in Palagoda this morning to inquire into the well-being of the Chancellor of the Sabaragamu University, Sahitya Chakravarti Agamaha Pandita, Venerable Professor Kumbarugamu Vajra Thera. The Prime Minister, in his cordial discussion with the Nayaka Thera, had wished him best of health. The Venerable Mahanayaka Thera has commenced the services of the Prime Minister by delivering an Anusasana on this occasion. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has also expressed his condolences on the passing away of former President of South Korea, Roh Tae-woo, yesterday. The Prime Minister had visited the office of the Korean Embassy in Colombo and placed a note in the Book of Condolence expressing the grief of the government and the people of Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan Ambassador of South Korea, Jin Jok, has received the Prime Minister on his arrival. The Prime Minister has also expressed the condolences over the demise of former President Roh Tae-woo to the members of his family and to the people of South Korea. The Prime Minister has further stated that Korean people will always remember the immense services rendered by the late Roh Tae-woo for the prosperity of the Republic of South Korea. Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa has received the blessings of the sacred tooth relic this morning. Diyavadana Nilame Nilanga Dala has welcomed the minister upon arrival at the Sri Dalada Maligava in Kandy. Minister Basil Rajapaksa said that he has visited to receive the blessings. Thereafter, the minister has received the Malvatu Viharya and called on Mahanayaka of the Malvatu chapter, Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thera. Upon receiving the blessings of the Mahanayaka Thera, Minister Basil Rajapaksa has arrived at the Askiriya Viharya.
Minister Namal Rajapaksa says that youth participation is necessary for the direction of the country on a new path. He has made these remarks participating in the New Generation Awards 2021 ceremony held in Colombo yesterday. The awards presentation has been organized for the second occasion to evaluate the skills of male and female youth who have excelled in numerous fields in Sri Lanka. It was conducted through a joint collaboration of the National Youth Services Council and the Women's Management Institute. The Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation has also received several awards at the ceremony. Natalia Veerawardena was adjudged as the Best TV Radio YouTube Personality of the Year. Hirushi Jayasena, who has announced programs at the national television, has received the award Positive Social Media Influencer of the Year. Buddhima Hansini has won the Personality of the Year for Youth Empowerment Award. Popular singer Yohani De Silva and several others have also been felicitated with awards. State Minister Jeevan Thondaman, Chairman of the National Youth Services Council Damit Wickramasinghe and President of the Women's Management Institute Dr. Sulochana Sigera have also attended the ceremony.
An agreement of understanding has been signed recently on the setting up of the new cement factory in Hambantota. The agreement was signed between the Hambantota International Harbour Company and the Ceylon Steel Corporation Cement Company. The newly signed pact paves the way for the amalgamation of the factory of the Mirijavala Export Processing Zone with the Hambantota Harbour. The total cost of construction of the factory is 80 million rupees. Production at this facility is scheduled to commence in January of next year. The new program enables the Ceylon Steel Corporation cement factory to manufacture cement needed for the construction of all prominent construction processes, including the Colombo Port City and the Expressway. Minister Rohita Gunawardena and Chairman of the Ceylon Steel Corporation Cement Company, Nandana Lokuvitana, were also present at the signing agreement. Construction at the new depot complex in Kagol has been expedited. State Minister Taraka Balasurya was engaged in an observation tour at the site recently. The State Minister has instructed officials to speed up construction of the depot, which had been abandoned during the period of the previous government of good governance. The Kandy District program of the Sahanelia National Program, organized in connection with the World Children's Day, was conducted yesterday. Handing over of a bag of nutritious foods, thermometers and hand-drying machines to preschool and school-going children has also taken place on this occasion. State Ministers P.L. Nishantha and Dilu Mamunugama, as well as Kandy District Parliamentarian Udayana Kirindigoda were also present.
Farmers in the Anuradhapura district have commenced paddy cultivation in the Maha season using organic fertilizer. The extent of land to be cultivated this season exceeds 127,000 hectares. Farmers have already commenced cultivation in a land area of nearly 15,000 hectares. The Ministry of Agriculture has provided the necessary organic fertilizer in this connection. Farmers in the Anuradhapura district greatly appreciated the program being implemented by the government in this regard.
The Sri Lanka Army Agricultural and Livestock Resources Board of Directors have commenced several large-scale agricultural projects utilizing many bare lands in the island. Under the program, the Army Institute is maintaining a successful agricultural project in Manik Farm in Andiyanapuliyapulam. And in the meantime, the Thurumithuru Navaratak project is being implemented on a concept of Chief of Defence Staff and Army Commander General Shavendra Silva. The Army Agricultural and Livestock Resources Board of Directors is engaged in efforts for the consolidation of food security and self-sufficiency in foods in the country. The total extent of the land in Manik Farm in Andiyanapuliyapulam is 6,000 acres. The crops which are being cultivated in large scale include paddy, coconut, mangoes, chilies, vegetables and fruits. The Andiyanapuliyapulam chili farm is currently the biggest large-scale chili farm in the country. 50 acres of land in the farm have come under the cultivation of chilies. The work is being jointly carried out with the assistance of the Ministry of Agriculture. The initial cultivation, a harvest of 45,000 kilos of chilies has been obtained. Out of this quantity, 7,500 kilos have been turned into dried chilies. The Army Agricultural Task Force has also commenced the planting of 64,000 coconut saplings in an extent of 1,000 acres of land. 350 saplings have already been planted. In an extent of 500 acres of land, a Tomjasi mango project is being implemented. 40,000 mango saplings have so far been planted. The aim is to increase the extent of cultivation to 60,000 plants. A growth of lemon has been used as a natural obstruction of thorns, which is also being used as an elephant fence. A successful orange cultivation is also being conducted. Crops such as green gram and kangkung are being used as undergrowth. Attention has also been focused on manufacturing of compost fertilizer, a process which has been subjected to substantial dialogue in society today. With that, we conclude local news and we'll be back with news overseas. Do stay tuned in.
And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Do just tomorrow at the very same time. Stay safe. Good night.
Good night.